Last here, guys, Realtor.com. Home listings surge to 6-year high. Ding, ding, ding. But cautious buyers hold back. Hey, that sounds like data and sentiment. Here we go. Theme of the month for April and now coming into May is like sentiment versus data. They're like this big clash of the titans. So number of homes for sale soared to a 6-year high, which, I mean, let's be honest. Let's be honest. In the last 6 years, some major things have happened, like 2020 and a shutdown in the whole country, and then only part of the country in 21 and less of the country in 22. So is this a sign of health, panic, or people needing money? What do you think?
People
Home listings surging to 6-year high. Is this a sign of health in the market, panic in the market, or people needing money?
I
Brian.
think it's the help and the need of money.
The health of the market?
Yeah.
Okay. Health of the market and people needing money. Memo, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's people needing money. You know, they're selling a lot of times, and they're just. How many people left California?
I don't know. I don't remember the number. It was a lot.
It was just a lot, right? Because I don't want to say it's because of the health. It was because of the. It was
money. It was cost. Yeah.
They needed that additional funds so they can go to a different state, and we're a large military town. A lot of people are retiring, and so when you're going to Texas, Florida, Nevada, Arizona. If you can prove 100% disability, you have no property tax.
Yeah.
That's a $700-800. I'm going to say from $300 to $800 monthly savings. That's huge.
Yeah, and annualize that,
Yes.
right? You're talking tens of thousands of dollars over the life of your
You
ownership.
also have to consider these places will give you free handicap plates, whereas here they still charge you for certain things.
Wow.
We're not as great to our veterans as we should be.
Not as benevolent as we want to let people think we are. Yeah.
And then
Callie.
also, a lot of our tech companies have left California, so they're going, and so it just the employees have to follow that. So I think a lot of it has to be with they need the money.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah, for me, if we're talking about like the health of the market, like we've been sick for like 3 years, but in this last year we didn't get any sicker. We just kind of stayed where we're at. So I feel that things are going to get better naturally because things are progressively getting better data. Houses are, more houses up on the market, and every year has been better than the previous year so far. So that coupled with the need of money and people basically, just, getting into bad spending habits, I think that's all coupled together where it's like, I need the money, and then the health of the market's coming back. So hopefully it crashes together, and it's like, I have money now so that I could,
So
the market back.
we were talking about this, and I know I alluded to a little earlier, Memo, but last week, and I again, this is why I brought this one from last week's show, is that Market Watch article talking about housing market stalls as homeowners struggle to sell. And then here we are, home listings surge to six-year high. Like literally 1 week later, okay? And my problem with that is like this is such a snapshot in time that it's a disservice to people who are trying to make a snapshot in time decision for their life too.
Absolutely.
Because like, the pace of home sales fell from 4.13 million to 4.02 million. Okay, and at the end of that little segment, I was telling Brian, what's going to happen what's Market Watch going to do if we have a healthy spring and a healthy summer and there's a resurgence of listings? What's going to happen then? And it's actually 4.25 million. It's actually higher than what was the estimated. Well, now we're not necessarily have to issue a correction because they didn't really do it erroneously or on purpose. But that's the kind of thing. Like you can have a week or a month where this actually says 31% higher week ending May 3rd than last year. So there's 31% more inventory now than there was 12 months ago. And this is 1 week after we just talked about this, where the sellers are bleeding and they're really struggling to sell. So I think that we're actually on the swing up. And so the point I was making is like, I think if we had like a train, like a train cross, like, so instead of us seeing that crossing that 4 million on the way down, Memo, I think we're actually seeing it go up. They have this little dip that was noted here, but I think that this kind of thing we're talking about, that's actually where we're going, not where we're at right now. Correct. Right, we're at right now is not what you need to look at if you're buying in the next 90, 120, 180 days. You need to look at where we're going. I'm going to talk about Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah,
he scored so many goals because his whole philosophy was skate to where the puck is going, not where the puck is at. And it's the same thing you got to do with real estate.
And he took 100% of the shots.
I totally got that wrong. I was like, did he say that? Brian was right. He did say that. I was like, I think that's Jordan or Kobe. Wrong.
Caleb, pull it up,
hey,
please.
I was up here tossing bricks.
Yeah. So here's one of the things that I like to bring up on the article that I put out like this in a sarcastic way. It says new listings rebound reach 3-year high. Of course it does. 2022.
Yeah, duh.
They were so honest about it, obviously.
And then here's the other thing. We got to acknowledge it. COVID changed everything.
Yeah.
COVID changed a lot for us. It changed our market. We had such a crazy mortgage and real estate, market in 2020, 2021. And then in 22, it just started crashing, right? And so we got to acknowledge at that time, people were just buying, and people were buying second, third, fourth homes because Airbnb was a thing.
Yeah.
People were just working remotely from home and said, I don't have to no longer go to the office. So now actually I can go buy a place near a lake where I've been wanting. Like, this has been my, one of my bucket list freaking wants.
Idaho, Wyoming's got hot.
So I'm going to go with it. I'm going to rent my property. I'm going to Airbnb. Well, guess what's happening with the whole Airbnb? It's gone down. It's
slowed so much.
Changed, similar to solar. Solar has changed. Everything changes, and it changes in a heartbeat.
In a blink.
So you have to be prepared. I bring this up because 2022, when interest rates started increasing, and we've seen that increase for since till last year. All that stuff is going to change. Yeah. It's going to now get people like, I have to sell that Airbnb. I have to sell that second home. Things aren't working out like it was.
And maybe some of that inventory is tucked inside that. And it's not in here, but I'm saying there's going to be a percentage of that where it's like, hey, I got to get rid of this second, third, or fourth place, whatever it is.
And I feel like it comes in waves. Like, there's the people that see it early and they're like, hey, let's just get rid of them now. I'm not even going to worry about that. I won't take the losses. There's people that are going to hold on to them till they literally like their last bit.
Absolutely.
And then that's going to bring in a different little wave. So I think we're starting to see tiers of all of that starting to unravel.
And what about, let's not forget the moratorium.
Yeah.
Let's not forget the whole Biden rule that people had these FHA loans, and you don't have to be making your payments. We're going to try to work something out with you. Yeah. And now the new administration comes in and it's like, no more of that.
Yeah.
All these things are changing, and we're going to start seeing more inventory. So our normal inventory, normal times has been about a million homes available. And so that's why we would see a steady market. We'd see the rates, they'd go up and down, but it wasn't as crazy, as volatile as it is right now. It's just so uncertain right now.
I'm with the article's data saying that I think we're on the swing back up. I think the 4.02 reading from last week is more of just a snapshot reading, kind of like checking a temperature, and then next week the temperature's different. I think that's the situation here. And the other thing too is and I've already made this point. I will not make it again. But the whole cautious buyer thing, you're up against people who are not acting cautiously, and they are going after it. We a couple weeks ago talked about that dude Brian that was in that article, who's a young man, Gen Z, saved up, put a down payment, bought a house, had closing costs paid for, and got in. So you're up against that dude. So if you're making offers and there's multiple buyers in the stack, you're up against that guy. Whether you know that guy or that's just an avatar of who you might be competing against in the market, that's what you need to know about when you're reading stuff about cautious buyers. I don't know if this is the time to be cautious.
Yeah, no, I agree. Negotiate with confidence and capitalize on the opportunities because you might not get it again, and then you're going to have to recast, recalibrate, and then retry.